Hello, everyone. It's my pleasure to be on stage together with you on this beautiful city of Baku, a home of hospitality. As I was introduced, my name is Abdulmajid Abakar, and I am from Nigeria. I happens to be a farmer. Back then, when I was a student, I took loan to venture into agriculture. As in Nigeria, it's very difficult, and it's agricultural transformation. The government wants us to be into agriculture in order to earn a living and not to be in other social biases. In as much as I want to earn a living, the loan I took, I invested into rice farming, but unfortunately, flood water washes away everything, leaving me with nothing. This has to do with what? The climate change. And as I said, it is a loan. I must pay back the loan. And I am a student. How can I pay the loan? That is the story of Abdul Majid. And it is the story of so many thousands of youths from the global south. In my country, Nigeria, I come from a village, Gumel, and it is in Jigawa state. It normally there happens to be semi-arid. We don't know flooding before, but due to climate change, places like Gumel in Jigawa state that has nothing to do with water are all flooded because of climate change. This is the impact of climate change. When Noah was told there will be flood, he began to build an ark in order to salvage his people. Something came into my head. I need to make a change. I need to do something so that what happens to me will not happen to thousands of youths out there. Because I can't fold my arms, I can't blame the government, I had to do something. And for me, having a foundation has nothing to do with you being a billionaire. You can help, you can give back to the society from what you have in your head, from the little you have. I happens to be a student of geography. I studied natural resource management and climate change in the university. Then I started consultation. I went to a professor of geography, and during our encounter, we spoke about low carbon emission. Then on living to the stage, we went straight to his office. To my dismay, I saw the air condition is on, the light is on during a broad daylight light when we don't need it. Then I said, Mr. Professor, I think we don't need this because there's passive day light. I think this thing should be up. To my dismay, he said, all those theories of low carbon climate change are theories on papers. This is a professor. Come to think of those in my country that never attend school. Those common men that doesn't know anything that has to do with environment. What will happen to them? That is when something came to me that I need to catch them young. I started my journey going to primary schools to nurture pupils like my brothers here on how to love the environment, to love nature, and to be conscious of the environment at a very early age. That's how I started. When I go to the school, I distributed exercise books to those students as an incentive. We plant trees together with them. And I tell them the importance of these particular trees, and I told them the impact of cutting them down. What happens to me, I don't want it to happen to anyone, not in the future. These kids will be excited having those exercise books because, as I said, we're living below poverty line. Going to school is very difficult to them. We plant the trees together with them, and I promise them I'll be back after 6 months. If your tree is still standing, you go home with a school bag. That's a promise to them, and I keep to my promise. After the 6 months, I'll go back to the school. Any tree that was standing, the student, I'll give him a school bag. And I was told by the head teachers, some pupils, their particular tree would die. But because I said I'm coming back, they'll have to go and buy another one and plant it just to get the school bag. And other parents that used to send their kids out on the streets to sell little things so that they have something to eat. Then they realized if I send my child to a particular school, they will give him exercise books, and before the term end, he will have a school bag. Then parents keep selling their kids to school. For me, that is a win-win because we are left behind. In my country, the northern part of Nigeria, we don't go to school that much. Few go to school. The girls end up in early marriage. And the kids end up on the street selling little things that will earn them less than one manat. So for me, it's a win-win. Giving them those bags, the school enrollment began to grow up. So this is what I do to the school pupils because what happens to me is terrible. I took that loan in 2017. As I'm telling you, I paid back the loan this year, which is terrible. Terrible. I have to start working. I have to earn something before I get what to pay them back. So this my story. It's not only mine. It is I'm speaking for the youths. I'm speaking for the victim of loss and damage. I'm speaking for this global south. Whenever we talk to people, they would think climate change, what is climate change? I keep telling them, climate change is not only for environmentalists, it is for everyone because we need a sustainable future for our generations unborn. I don't want my child to suffer the way I suffered. I don't want my child to go through what I went. In those places I said in Jigawa State, whenever there is flood, and the flooding, it's year in, year out, every year, the kids are exposed to so many diseases. The women, the girls are vulnerable to social vices because we, the men, will be out there in the cities looking for a greener pasture, something to bring. So when flooding will come, it will be what? The old age, the kids, and the women. This is very difficult for them. And the government, even though some governments are trying, others will just fold their arms, waiting for the disaster to come for them to give them relief materials. And the shelter will be in an uncompleted building. Imagine your daughter, your sister, your wife, your mother living in an uncompleted building as a result of climate change. We don't want this. That is why I advocate for climate justice. That is why I no longer call myself a farmer, but a climate activist. I advocate for climate justice, and I advocate for climate action. I do go to schools, and this is what I do. I think I have a little clip. I don't know if it's ready. A clip to show you what we do with those kids in the school. If you don't have them, fine. This is where I will stop. If there's anything, I don't know if I'm allowed to get questions and respond to them, then the floor is open. I can answer the questions. Thank you. Questions? Yeah.
Thank you so much for your talk. Very inspiring, and it's nice to hear your story, how you started taking action, taking things into your own hands.
Thank you.
So I've kind of like worked with some urban planners or shadowed them. I don't work directly in urban planning myself, but I'm wondering if you've thought about urban planning as a solution, or if you've explored any of that, and how can like that or other solutions really proactively address the situation that you're talking about, where like if a flood comes and then relief is needed, then people are living in these incomplete buildings. Like, where could urban planning plug into that, or other solutions?
If I get the question right, as I said earlier, everyone needs to do what he can do from his own way. I am an individual. I founded an organization, and the best thing I can do is to advocate. The best thing I can do is to go to the government, do this, do that. And most of the farmlands that were affected are within the lowland. And we keep telling them, because each and every year there will be a forecast that today or from so months there will be flooding. These people will be advised to please leave the riverine area or the lowland area. When the flood went, then you come back. But they will not listen. So it's left for the government to do the needful, maybe build low mass housing estate for those communities that are living within the lowland. But as for me, I'm taking it step by step from advocacy, then only God knows what I'll do in the future. But I'm doing the best I could with the little I have. Thank you. Okay, there's someone here?
Hello.
Hi.
Thank you for your talk.
Welcome.
One thing I was wondering about was what the general attitude towards climate change is like in Nigeria. Like, I'm a student from the United States, and there's a lot of people in the United States that deny climate change, and even if some people believe in it, that they just don't think it's as pressing of an issue when, you know, they have to struggle to put food on the table every night and things like that. And it's not an issue that they think about very much. So I wonder what it was like for the general people in Nigeria.
Thank you very much. This is a very good question. For us in Nigeria, the government and the stakeholders, most of them are skeptical when it comes to climate change. They don't understand the science, and they don't want to understand the science. You will see someone that is advising the president on climate change that has no knowledge about the climate change. Most of them know nothing about the science. So they are very skeptical. That is why I said they fold their arms and wait for this disaster to come so that they will release those relief materials. And on doing that, they enrich themselves. So that's it. I think there's one of the politicians that once said, if they will not give me money, let them hold their climate change. Imagine. So this is the mess we're in. But with organizations and individuals like me, we're spreading awareness. That is why we're catching them young. That is why we're targeting the peoples, because they are the leaders of the tomorrow. If they are not aware, if they are not informed, then they will not have the head to make a good decision in the future. We want the future to be brighter and the best for them. Thank you.
Great. So if that's all.